From my awareness of the evidence that we had, Bear actually put it onto his OnlyFans account, and it was his verified OnlyFans account. And I think he advertised it, and that's how we first found out about it, because we signed up to the OnlyFans account when we heard it was on OnlyFans, and there was still an advert on there with a screenshot of him on top of me in his garden, and he put the caption as something along the lines of, sign up now for 50% off to see me in my garden. Just made me feel violated. Like, imagine having to look at an image of him on top of me with a discount underneath me and being called a all in one go, and all I'd ever done was be good to him as a friend and as more. For me, it was hard to believe that someone I'd known for so long could have zero empathy towards me. It's still hard to get my head around now why he done it, and it really does lower your self-worth when someone that you really did care for at a time treats you in such a way. And, you know, I did say to him, it would ruin my life, it would change my life unequivocally, and it did. But I also told him that it would ruin his life, you know. He was still working in television at the time, he had a nice house, good family behind him. It made no sense to me that he would do something like this, and it still doesn't.
Has he ever said why he did it?
Well, no, he's never admitted to doing it, to me anyway. I heard he's admitted it to other people, but no, he's never apologised to me once. And I even said when watching the footage of him outside court, it's one thing to deny it, but to completely show absolutely no remorse towards me just makes no sense. Like, at least stand outside and say, look, it wasn't me, but I am so sorry for like the hurt and pain it's caused Georgia. But no, it's just like, my feelings don't matter at all. I think a custodial sentence was the only sort of punishment that would make someone like Stephen Bear change their ways. I think he completely lost touch with reality, and he thought he could do what he wanted when he wanted, treat people how he wanted, and that public and society would still love him and still be behind him. And if he had got away with this, he only would have gone on to do something worse. He's gradually got worse and worse as time's gone on. And the only thing that was ever going to change that or stop the momentum on it was a custodial sentence. So when it first happened, the physical effects on me were just horrific. I had acne come up all over my face, and I actually ended up getting a cyst infected, and I ended up in hospital. Long story short, just from the stress, I had an infection which made a cyst burst, and then it ended up infecting a lot of my organs, and I actually almost died, and that was a few months after the situation occurred. Then obviously I've been on a healing journey and I've been feeling pretty much back to normal, but as the court case reappeared and I had to go in to witness and give my statement, I started getting psoriasis on my head really badly, and it made my hair begin to fall out, and it did have like a massive effect. But I've been getting some really good treatment recently called PRP, and all of the psoriasis has cleared, and I'm starting to see a lot of regrowth on my hair. Not this much regrowth, because this isn't all my hair. I don't know, I think it's like off a horse or something, but some actual regrowth on the real hair. Yeah, I have spoken to the press before about the cyst that actually occurred. It's something that can happen to lots of women, and it usually happens when you're stressed out, and it's just a cyst burst on my ovary, but I had no idea, and the longer I left it, I just thought I was so run down from everything that happened, and I wanted to honestly keep leaving it without going to get some help. And my mum said to me in the end, like, you're not right. Like, I know something isn't right. I was still in Dubai. She went, get up and go to the hospital now. And I was like, Mum, I'm just going to get in bed. Like, I'll feel better in the morning. She's like, no, just go to the hospital now. So I went to go to the hospital, and as I was in the car, I just started shaking and shivering. And what I didn't realise was I was going into shock. And when I got to the hospital, they said that my kidneys, my pelvis, and multiple of my organs were infected, and I was actually going into septic shock. And had I stayed at home one more evening, I would have died.
God, it's horrific.
Horrific,
You've
yeah.
really been through it, haven't you?
I had. It was really bad. It was awful for my mum as well, because it was Christmas Eve. So I ended up in a Dubai hospital on my own, Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, and the days following. And it was just like a real... I just think it took such a physical toll on my body that I didn't realise. I was at home just crying all the time, drinking a lot. I'd be like not eating for days, and then I would just eat absolutely everything in sight. I just was really, really grieving from the situation, I think, and damaging my own body in the process. After everything I've been through, I feel very resilient and I feel very ready to take on whatever comes next in my life. And to be honest, I've been through a lot worse, not a lot worse than this, never to take away from this situation, but I lost my best friend of leukemia and I had to watch him suffer with that for so long, and it took everything to overcome that. And I think once you've overcome something like that, everything after that doesn't seem as bad. And as much as this situation really did crush me 2 years ago, I can definitely stand here strong now and overcome it and build a resilience to it, because I have been through worse. And, you know, I think there's only good times to come from here. People have asked before if I felt suicidal, and I have to say, like, there was obviously times where I felt like I couldn't go on or I didn't see any way out of how I felt. But there was never a time where I really felt I considered taking my own life, no. Because I've got such a good support of friends and family around me, and I know that if I was to ever take my own life, it would destroy so many people's lives, because I've got such an amazing friendship group, family, everything, and I just wouldn't ever want to do that to them. So even when I'm at rock bottom, I've got 100 people with me when I'm sitting down there, so yeah. I'm unsure how the process works when he's in jail. I've been attempting to sue him for around a year now, ever since the court case moved. So he got charged a year before that date, but decided to change his defence a week before the court case, which means it got put back a whole year. And obviously my work life, my personal life, everything was being affected. So that's when I decided to get a civil lawyer and actually pursue it on a personal grounds, and it's been ongoing ever since. It just so happens that he's in prison now, but it could have gone forward a year ago if possible, but it wasn't possible.
Has it cost you a lot of money to do this, or does he have to pay the costs?
So I'm doing it on a no-win, no-fee basis. So if I was to lose, I would have to pay his costs, but if he loses, he has to pay mine. I mean, it is worth every penny, and I don't think people realise just how much this actually did damage my career. People look at me now and they think, you know, she has a documentary, she's in the press, everything's fine, but they don't realise that I've gone through 2.5 years of being dropped by every brand pretty much that ever worked with me. I haven't been on television in the last 2 years whatsoever since this happened, and my career was thriving prior to it. I really did lose a lot down to his actions, and that's why I feel I have every right to sue him and claim back some of the money that he lost me.
And that's really wrong, isn't it, that your career has been affected when you've been a victim of something as horrific as this?
Yeah.
Why is that, do you think? Why did people drop you?
I just think there's so many influencers and girls just like me out there. So when it comes to clothing brands, makeup brands, sort of high-end brands who care about their image, if they're looking at a lineup of influencers or reality stars, for instance, that they then want to book, I went from one of the lineup to one of the lineup with a big red flag over her head, and it just didn't make sense for a lot of brands to invest their money in me when obviously I've had this massive scandal, I guess that's the word, scandal. So it just meant that I got dropped and other people replaced me. I have a lot of faith that now this is all over and my truth's been confirmed, that my career is going to get back on track. Hopefully brands that did drop me once will want to work with me again. But I really do think I had to go to court and I had to really tell my side of the story for me to get to that point. If I hadn't gone to the police and I hadn't gone to court, I don't think I ever would have got back on track.